Happy Feast Day, my dear friends. Happy Feast Day. We are celebrating today the feast of the exaltation of the cross. And the mystery celebrated in this feast of the triumph of the cross is none other than God's work of transformation and redemption, since the instrument of torture and shame has been transformed into an instrument of salvation and victory because of God's love. For God so loved the world. Look at this instrument of torture, my dear friends. Instrument of torture and shame. And yet now it has become one among the most venerated, sacred of the images that we have in our faith. What an inspiring works of God. He can transform things. God can do anything and everything. God can use the worst and transform it into the best. He can use death to bring forth life. And so in the same way, my dear friends, God can also exalt every cross we endure in life and bring forth from it so much grace. But we have to endure. This is the catch. God can transform all these crosses that we bear in our day-to-day life, but there is this requirement that we have to endure. We have to bear them and trust in the Lord. And God will always be victorious. His goodness, love, and truth will always prevail over sin and death and lies. What are the crosses we are carrying, my dear brothers and sisters? What is your heaviest cross? What is the source of your greatest suffering? Is it broken relationships? Or some financial difficulties, or maybe health issues, etc., etc. In the realities of our life, more often, our crosses and sufferings are the things we seek to get rid of, right? We don't want them because oftentimes we consider them as hindrance to our success and happiness. I would like to tell you a story. I don't know if you know this story, but this is the story of a man on a journey to paradise, given a cross to carry. And while journeying, its length give him some kind of trouble. So he thought of, I'll cut a bit of this cross that I'm carrying. So he journeyed, but as he go along, the cross is still getting heavier and heavier. So he cut a little bit off again. Until he continued, and along the way, bit by bit, he downsized his cross. And it becomes really very small. And while his journey was all right, it was easy, when he arrived at his destination, at the threshold of the kingdom of God, lo and behold, there is this chasm. There is this gap from where he stands and the gate of the kingdom of God. Only to find out that that size of the cross that he was carrying is supposed to be the bridge he will be using to cross. My dear friends, the truth of our faith presents to us that in fact, in the willing acceptance and by embracing of our cross, united in the cross of Christ, we find salvation, solace, true happiness and joy, and eternal glory. Our second reading in today's liturgy proclaims that Christ emptied himself, took the form of a slave, being born in the likeness of man, and became obedient to death, even death on the cross. And because of this, God highly exalted him and gave him the name above every other name, to the glory of God the Father. Jesus Christ is Lord. Therefore, my dear friends, do not be disheartened by the cross given to you by God. As St. Paul, in his first letter to the Corinthians, he said, God is faithful and will not let you be tried beyond your strength. And with the trial, he will also provide you with a way out, so you may be able to bear it. You know what, my dear friends, what happened to that man journeying with the cross before he got the cross? There is the how do you call it? Prequel. Is it prequel? There is actually a prequel of that. And the prequel was, am I correct? Okay, prequel. The prequel of that story is actually, before he got that cross, somebody gave it to him. An attendant, a servant of God. We call it maybe angels. He was given this cross. And this man is already at the very beginning, was already complaining. And he was negotiating. Can I change this cross? It seems kind of not fit to me. And so, kindly the attendant allowed him, okay, come up here to this cross warehouse. Look for yourselves what is fit for you. And so he put down his cross, the cross that was given to him. He started to walk around, roam around, check around. He picked one. Oh, this one is heavy. He dropped it off. He picked another one. Oh, this one's too light. No challenge. So he goes on and round until finally he picked up on one cross. And when he got it, he said, oh, I think this is the right one for me. I will take this, he said to the attendant. And then the attendant said, actually, that's the one I gave you. So, if you feel, so this is the lesson, my dear friends, in our day-to-day life. If you feel that we are being tested by God by some crosses and suffering, we have to accept it as a compliment from God. Because He trusted us, He believed in us, that we can carry it through. And accordingly, He will give it to us according to our capacity. And what He will entrust to us, our responsibilities, our crosses, the challenges and trials in life, all throughout that journey, we can be assured that God's grace will always be sustaining us and enabling us to fulfill it. Now, to wrap up the point that I would like to share with you, these crosses that God entrusted to us are simply trials and challenges and difficulties. But this is merely to test us. Test us. I found one preacher, I've watched one preaching, and this preacher was talking about, he was giving a distinction between these two very interesting words, testing and tempting. So test and temptation. So I would like to borrow that idea, and I would like to wrap these things up with this sharing. Testing from God is for proving, and when we are found worthy by God, we will win the prize of life. It's similar to the school setup. We do have exams for our children, right? after some lessons given to them, at a certain time we will be given a test, an exam. And what are these exams? Are exams for us to fail? No, of course. Exams are made for us to succeed. It is a way for us to prove or even check if we are already capable of proceeding to the next level, right? Testing is not for us to fail. On the contrary, temptations are oriented for us to fail. More properly, the devil is what tempts us so that we can fail. Temptation from the evil one is to divert our attention from God and to distract us of earthly things and passing things so as to lose focus on the things that are eternal. And the devil will always tempt us to fail. Remember that Jesus also was tempted. And the ultimate temptation of Jesus is what? On the cross. The temptation was, come down from the cross if you are the Son of God. But Jesus never gave in to that temptation. He proved himself worthy of that test from the Father to obey his will. So this, my dear friends, is kind of make us realize, give us an insight that embracing the cross of Christ and with Christ in our day-to-day life can actually render us, can prove us, not so much because of our works, but because of God's grace, helping us through bearing all these crosses to that glory that God has promised us. And that is what we are celebrating today, the feast of the exaltation of the cross.